All right, the government has decided to impose a provisional anti-dumping duty on imports of hot-rolled steel products. The move is aimed at shielding domestic steel manufacturers from cheap imports of finished products. Joining me to discuss the impact of this move is Ravi Uppal. He's MD and CEO of JSPL. Good morning, Mr. Uppal. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. The minimum import price has been extended on only 66 of the initial 173 products that it was initially imposed on. The rest all has come under the ambit of the anti-dumping duty. Your first reactions, does the real impact remain absolutely unchanged and status quo?
Well, let me first say that, in the last notification which came on February 5th, 173 items were covered. Then recently the government has announced the anti-dumping duty on 107 out of them, and the balance 66 are covered under the MIP. So basically the list remains more or less the same as we had on February 5th. So nothing has changed. The only difference is that under 107 items, which cover basically the hot rolled coils and plates, the government has introduced the anti-dumping duty. And the rest of the items are covered under the MIP. In the MIP, what they are basically saying, they fix the floor level below which the prices cannot be accepted, and if there's any gap, they will continue to take the floor price given in MIP as the basis for imports. Whereas in case of anti-dumping, they fixed up an amount that if you import, from any one of these countries which are specified, they have specified the amount of anti-dumping duty which will be imposed on every ton of material that you import. So in the long run, my take is that MIP will not continue. Right now they have given a validity of 2 months. I think during these 2 months, that the government will work out a way to give continued protection to the industry.
All right. How are international steel prices doing? I mean, we've seen quite a strong run-up of late, but do you see prices sustaining after this run-up? And what is the current differential between Chinese HRC and domestic HRC, if you can highlight that delta as well?
Well, the international market, including the imports from China, are very volatile in pricing. In the month of March and April, the prices have risen, but subsequently the prices have started to climb down. Still, the prices of Chinese are substantially lower compared to what the MIP level is, and therefore the government had to give a kind of continued protection for protecting our industry. And right now it's so important to save the Indian steel industry against reckless imports from China and Korea. And if you don't do that, the Indian industry, which has also already suffered so much during the last 2 years, it would be very adversely impacted. Because, we are not on a level playing field. The Indian costs are very different, both for imports and the services that we use for producing steel. So we have to have some protection, and government had done a very objective analysis of the ground situation, and they have, keeping everything in view, they have imposed the anti-dumping duty.
So explain to us the mechanism of the duty imposition. I mean, how will it be calculated? Will it be the difference between $480 a ton and the extant $400 a ton, which is the Chinese HRC, or is it one flat rate?
No, it's like this, that regardless of what the price is, on every ton of coils or plates which are imported, there will be an imposition of about $475 for every ton of coils or plates that you import. That's a flat rate, government has said over a period of next 2.5 years, this kind of duty which is there, anti-dumping duty, it will gradually be brought down. So, but right now they have suggested flat rates of a duty on any coils or plates which are imported.
What about cold rolled coils, sir? What's the quantum there?
Well, I'm talking about hot rolled coils. The first anti-dumping circular which came, it was covering the hot rolled coils, in thickness up to 150 millimeter and different widths, and they have specified rates of anti-dumping duty on a per ton basis of every HR coil which is imported or the plates which are imported.
So we've also heard about the imposition of a duty on cold rolled coils. So that's what I was asking you about.
Yes, on the cold rolled coils, they're right now covered by partly by MIP and partly by the duty which is their anti-dumping duty. So the government has basically covered all these 173 items which were within the jurisdiction of the first, the notice which came in February. There's no change. Materially, there's no change, excepting that there are two different classifications. The hot rolled coils and plates are covered under the anti-dumping duty, and the balance 66 items are covered by MIP. But I'm quite sure during the course of next 2 months' time, that the other items would also be brought under a kind of protection which is acceptable. It can be anti-dumping duty or any other form which is acceptable under the WTO norms.
There were many items also that were left out of the coverage universe as far as MIP is concerned. I mean, of the overall 500, it was only on 173, and now it's continuing on 66. Semis and scraps, for instance. Are you pushing for greater coverage and protection there?
Well, the steel industry definitely wants some more items to be covered under the MIP, because those items are, really sort of affecting the local industry. For example, there are, certain type of semis which are imported. Like if you take the API grade, anything more than which is more than X52, the slabs are still being allowed to be imported. Whereas these slabs can be very well manufactured in India, not only by just one manufacturer, but several of them. So, we have requested government to expand the scope of items which are covered under the MIP or anti-dumping duty, so that, that it becomes more effective mechanism for protection. Then, there are certain downstream products, which are still continuing to be imported. So, in many cases, people are not buying the upstream materials. If you, for example, you take the wire rod. So even if you put the anti-dumping duty on wire rod, but you allow for the wires to be imported freely without any kind of duty, then people are resorting to buying the wire instead of the wire rod. I think these are the kind of anomalies which need to be looked into, and we have to plug all the gaps.
So let's move to company-specific issues now. The Sharda verdict was in your favor. How much of ore do you have lying there right now?
Well, the Odisha High Court has given the judgment in our favor, and they have once again also reconfirmed the decision that they have given. So the matter is with the state government, and they have to execute formalities whereby they could allow us to lift the things. So we are waiting for that permission to be given to us to lift it. But as the court is concerned, they have in no uncertain terms said that the mineral belongs to us. We have paid the royalty, and and we have every right to sort of lift this for our own use within the plant.
How much of it is there, sir? The ore in terms of quantum, the number.
Well, the inventory is in the range of about 12.5 to 13 million tons, and all of it is usable. These are fines, and there's a limited quantity of lumps also in that. So I think it's all usable stock.
You already paid for this 12.5 to 13 million tons lying at Sharda, right?
Yes, indeed. Full payment has been made. Royalty has been paid. So it is our sort of own iron ore stock, which nobody disputes. The only issue which came up was with regard to allowing us to do the transportation, which to our mind, should not evoke any kind of, objection from any quarter, and it is all conforming to the laws, and later on this has been sort of confirmed by the High Court in Odisha.
How much of cost benefit do you think will come in from the Sharda procurement as and when the offtake from there starts? And will margins improve by around $20 a ton?
Well, look, if we buy the fines, and the fines today are costing close to about 1,200 to 1,300 rupees per ton, and delivered cost is about 1,400 to 1,500 rupees. So obviously we don't have to buy those fines once we have access to our own stock. So you will have corresponding reduction in the cost of materials. So it's a simple arithmetic.
For you to get a higher enterprise value for Tamnar, let's talk about power, of course. You need coal and you need purchasing power agreements. Update us there. The journey from 4,000 to 6,500. How long? How far is it?
Well, you know that we have about 2 years' time to fulfill the two conditions for us to realize 6,500 crores, and we are working with both of them. It's basically about getting the assured coal supply, and the second one is about getting PPAs. So 2 years is a long time. We are quite hopeful we should be able to complete both these obligations in a relatively shorter time compared to 2 years limit.
So how much of the 1,000 megawatt plant at Tamnar is tied up with the PPAs currently?
Well, you know, we have about 200, 250 megawatt which is tied up through PPAs. And for the rest of them, you know, we're looking for tying up the PPAs. We have some good prospects in the pipeline. I'm quite hopeful that in the matter of next couple of weeks, I should be able to tie up another 200, 250 megawatt. And likewise on the 1200 megawatt, the 2 units, 600 megawatt, we're quite hopeful that in the next couple of months' time, we would be able to tie up the complete 1200 megawatt of the second block of power units.
All right. And lastly, what is the current debt level consol and the debt equity ratio target for FY17?
Well, the consolidated debt for us is about 46,000 crores. It's fairly flat at this moment. We are not investing any money in any new capital projects. If at all we're doing it, you know, small investments to complete the project that we started long back. So therefore, I don't think there will be much a movement on that, and we will